Before we get into the video, if you're looking for top quality sample packs, preset packs and templates for your music production, they're entirely royalty free. You can use them in your own productions and learn from them. If you're interested, check out the link in the description and enjoy the video. How's it going everyone? It's Lewis of bbrights and I am back with a brand new video. It's finally here. Part 10 of my W&W from start to finish is now out. It's been over a month since my previous episode. I'd like to apologise for that. I felt like I needed a little break from making this series, hence why I made a new progressive house one, but we're back. This may be the final episode. I can't confirm if it is or not, just because I'm not sure what the final result will be at the end of this episode. But last episode we worked on the second drop synths, adding a pre-drop vocal, doing some reverb carries and adding some extra stuff to the kick drum and stuff like that, small effects and small details to the track. In this episode we're going to be working on the break melody, briefing it up a bit, making it a bit more aggressive, so it feels like one with the track is the same volume as the drop synths. I also want to make sure the drop synths sound like one. We're going to do a bit more processing on them, make them sound like one full drop lead, so all the melodies and all the synths combined together. I want to work on the mix, maybe add a pre-drop feel, and I also want to work on the pre-drop vocal, make it sound more W&W-esque. So as usual, I'm going to play through what I have so far to refresh everyone's memory. It's been over a month, so I apologise if there's any lags or spikes in the CPU. I do apologise for that. There's a lot of stuff going on. There will be some CPU and lag spikes, but yeah, let's play through what I have, and I hope you enjoy, and let's go.
I like the beat get this from the bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. I like the beat get this from the bass goes to the voice.
And that is what we have so far. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do this episode, so I don't want to talk too much. Just a few things to point out. I noticed that at the beginning of the second 8 bars of the drop, there was an error in the drop synth, so we're going to quickly fix that. So this bit right here, yeah, right here, perfect. So we're going to chop that like that, bring this forward, and then also we're going to change this second half right here.
Let's go!
The Let's Go section, W&W do a very signature Let's Go in their track, so we're going to try and recreate that. And yeah, to do some small effects and polish the track up, so let's get straight into it. So the first thing I'm going to start with is beefing up the break section. This muted guitar here, I want to add a bit more saturation and aggression to this. Let's click it so the filter opens up. As you can see, I've got a one shot here. I'm using that just to do an extra harmonic layer. We're going to turn up the sound godizer on that one just to get a bit more volume out of it. I'm going to boost to 2000 Hz range just because that's what makes it jump out your speakers. course we have 3 other layers here. This one filters in, it's a super saw chord layer. But we mainly want to beef up the plucks for now, just because that's a section that plays first. Obviously, if you look at the spectrum, you can hear a very, very ringy tone. Right there, that's why I dipped that down. If we go into this layer, we probably could turn down the attack a bit. There we go, just to spice up a bit more. And if we add an OTT on this one as well. And then we'll go back to this super saw layer. Because it's very silent here, so you don't really hear it. It's mainly for the super saw section. Let's see what it sounds like now. So this layer is very important if you was hearing when I was muting it. So this is a very important layer, so we'll turn it up just a bit more. And we'll turn up the guitar layer a bit more as well. And now we have this. So now what we need to do is see how this contrasts into the super saw section. We don't want to drop off in volume. We want it to be quite similar. If anything, we want the super saw section to be a tiny bit louder for dynamic purposes. You know, you want your song to have a good dynamic range. And it also feels like there's more energy if it's a tiny bit louder. Obviously there's more high frequencies, more white noise, so of course it'll sound like it has more energy. But we're going to go through each lead here and just, you know, spice it up a bit more. We've already made it more mono, which is what I was going to do anyway, so it's good that we've done that. Let's turn up a bit more. It's mainly just turning things up. You might notice throughout your production that things are quite quiet. You've turned them down too much, so and obviously these 3 are the big ones right here. These are the ones that give it the most power. We want to make sure we get these spot on. So what I'm going to do is open up these layers here and then just copy these bass notes, and we're going to copy them and put them down an octave. As much as we've done that in previous layers and we've got a sub bass, it just adds more body and texture to the layer. So if we hold shift and click, and then hold control and click down on the arrow key, push it down an octave. And as you can see, there's no processing on this, it just goes to a group with Simplon. So I'm going to add a sound gradizer on this, just to beef it up a bit more. Now we need to make sure these 2 contrast well, because one's panned left and one's panned right. So we don't want one to be louder than the other. One signal with the left or right will be stronger than the other. We don't want that. And then so for the sub bass, I'm going to add R bass. It's a Waves plugin, R bass mono. This intensifies it a lot, so we're going to turn it down to maybe like -2 or -3. And as you can see, when R bass is enabled, it adds a bit more dB. So what we're going to do is see what dB it's at before the R bass. It's around minus 12-ish, so when we turn it on, it's around minus 6. We're just going to turn it down just a little bit. So it hits around there. And of course, we're going to open up FabFilter Pro Q3. And we're currently working in with the songs in G minor, so we're going to double click G1, and it's at 48 Hz, technically 49 Hz, it's literally one off, and then obviously G0 we're not using, and G2 we're not going to use, so it's mainly G1, so it says 48 Hz, but it's technically 49, so we're going to go back in R bass, and we're going to change the frequency to 49. Specifically affecting the frequency of G. Granted, there are different notes playing. We have got an F and a D sharp and a C, but that's mainly what we want. We don't want it to be affecting any notes or any frequencies that are not in the scale of G minor. So now we're working on that. Now let's see what we sound like with these. You can see when I turn R bass off, there's an immense amount of power lost. So R bass, recommend it a lot for your sub basses, your kicks, your big room kicks. Just to beef up the bass, because if I show you again, there is an immense power lost when I turn it off. So if I show you when it's off, you can hear that. And then finally we have a counter melody here. And that can stay the same as it is. So now if we listen to the break now.
Bass up to the top. I like to begin with from the bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. I like to begin with from the bass goes to the voice. Super duper
And now that's sounding good. It's a lot more beefed up. It's a lot more aggressive. It fits well with the track a bit more. It's not so dull. We've boosted it up nicely. Next I want to move on by filtering the drop synths in the second build up, because as you can see, they're blaring your ears right away. You want to build up the tension, you want to build up and create energy. You don't want the drop leads hitting right away, so that's what obviously when the drop hits. So we're going to filter these up using FabFilter Simplon. So one thing I've noticed I haven't done is use the reverb carry MIDI information in the build up. That's very important. That can get very messy because of the reverb tower is blaring over the place. So we're going to copy all this information right here. And obviously this final one here as well. So now in the build up section, we now have the reverb carry. So that cleans the build up a lot more. And of course, like I said, we're going to be adding a FabFilter Simplon just to filter them up a bit more. So if we find the drop lead bus, which is right here. I'm also going to create an automation clip for this one for the low end. But for now, we'll do this one, and we'll do this one as well. Always make sure to click Control S, save your project. You never know when FL will want to crash on you. It's unpredictable, so make sure you click Control S every now and then. This is the actual filter we want to use here. Another tip as well, don't always solo your leads when you're doing this stuff. I'm just doing it to get a general idea, but then don't always leave it as it is because you don't know what it's going to sound like with the track. Always play the result you want with the track so you get the perfect result. I'm going to mute the vocal quickly because it's blaring in my ears. And I'm going to bring it down like that. We're going to be doing a low cut here, so it's around like 2 bars in. We're going to bring it up quite a significant amount.
1, 2, 3.
This is good for building tension. You can't really hear the drop lead towards the end, but that is good. I'm going to bring these down a bit, as we always do every episode. We have so many layers here in this track, and definitely a lot more. We're going to bring these down and extend these out for the length of the drop, just in case you want to do any details throughout the drop. But that is done, so now it sounds like this with the filtering. There we go, sounds really good. So next I want to work on the pre-drop vocal. Like I said before at the beginning, I'm going to be adding some sort of similar Let's Go vocal. A few years ago, Maurice West done a YouTube series called The Formula when he showed how he made his track Dojo, and he explained how he made that pre-drop vocal effect. And he said that he got the Let's Go vocal from a Calvin Harris remix. So a few years ago, maybe 4 or so years ago, onto YouTube and found it. It's in my Audacity folder here. Let's go! Right there. Let's go! So this is the one he used. He pitched it down 4 semitones, but that was for G sharp minor. We're working in G minor, so he used it like this. Let's go! We need to pitch it down 1 more to fit our key. Let's go! So that's what we're working in, so that's going to go right here. And we're going to be changing this one out. This was just a placement one because it doesn't really fit. If I was to chop it out here, it doesn't really fit very well. 1, 2, 3, let's go! The transition's off, doesn't really sound good. So we're going to be deleting this one, and we're going to be finding a new one. So this is what we have so far. So it's just this one. Let's go! Let's go! Let's find another pre-drop vocal. We could use the other Kashmir one where it says 1, 2, 3 on each beat. This one was a little swing to it, so it didn't really fit with this one. So if you go back into Kashmir Volume 3. 1, 2, 3, come on! 1. We could use that one, like I said. 1, 2, 3, let's go! That works very well. I'm not sure if I created a mixer track for the vocal, unless we just turned it down to fit. But regardless, if we have or not, we're going to add these two into their own separate mixer channels, just so we can process them individually. We might want to do something different. 1, 2, 3, let's go! 1, 2, 3, let's go! 1, 2, 3, let's go! One thing I'm going to do is add a manipulator on here. We're going to turn the format down maybe 1 or 2. 1, 2, 3, let's go! 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 We could add a manipulator on this one. The reason why, like I said, put them in individual mixers because we want to use something different on each one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm not really familiar with what each knob does. I only really know what obviously the pitch, harmonics, and format does. So I'm going to just mess around with this, try and get a good result, and I'll speak to you afterwards and I'll show you what I come up with. So we're going to leave it where it's at so far. I don't want to spend too much time on it. At the moment it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, let's go! So we're going to leave it as it is like that. So we're going to move on to the next bit, which is making a pre-drop fill. I've used Nexus for the cowbell. This is a classic cowbell everyone knows. Opened up Edison, recorded it and dragged it and placed it in here. So what we're going to do, and we're going to copy and paste this one right here. I might just use it for this second bit here, so it's like this. 1, 2, 3, let's go! 1, 2. Gotta normalize it as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, let's go! Let me add a big snare. The classic snare I'm thinking of is this one. So let's just see what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, let's go! 1, 2, 3, let's go! But I might just open up a splice and use the drop gun one because that's a very, very nice one. So I'm going to do that now quickly. So now we have splice open. If I just search drop in the search bar, there we go, drop gun. That one right there, it's a very, very nice one. Click and drag it. 1, 2. Make sure you turn it down first. 1, 2, 3, let's go! 1, 2, 3, let's go! Of course, we've got to find the classic green for the drums because my OCD is kicking in as usual. So that's this green right here. There we go. And we're going to drag this up to there. And then drag these two up to there. 1, 2, 3, let's go! So I actually just spent around 15 to 20 minutes creating my own vocal for the track, like the own build-up vocal, just to make it a little more unique, a little more my own, to make it a better tutorial rather than using a Kashmir vocal pre-drop. So what I've made here is this. I'll play it for you. If you want a tutorial on how I made this, I'll make a tutorial in my next video on how I made it. It was a very long process. It just took some time to perfect. So this is the effect. So let me play it on solo.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the rave.
So yeah, it sounds pretty good. As you can hear, I've This is my own vocal. I could play you what it sounds like before if I get it up. So this is actually me right here. This is just my voice.
Welcome to the rave.
I just put on like an American accent, a bit more deeper in my voice.
Welcome to the rave.
Welcome to the rave.
I just used what I used before in the previous vocal, the manipulator plugin. Also use the vocoder effect. Nothing too crazy. It's just knowing certain things, combining them, and it makes a bigger effect than it actually is. Mess around with the pitch and the formant, a vocoder, and it's just other effects: camel crusher, saturation, EQ, compression, and you get this effect. And now if I play it with the actual track.
Welcome to the rave.
So it sounds really good actually. It's a lot more WW style. Like I said, if you want me to make a tutorial on how I made this, hit the like button, comment below saying you want the tutorial, and I'll make it in one of my next videos. So yeah, now we've got that, we can move on to making the drop lead sound like one.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the rave.
Really good. It's going to take that just a little bit, and then we can close this off. And yeah, now we can just work on the drop lead. So let's solo them out so don't have any drums and effects blaring in our ears at the same time. So now we've actually got a decent sounding vocal. It's quite creative, it's unique to the track. I'm going to just work on gluing the drop beats together. We might have to link it to another bus. The plugin I'm going to add is a sausage fattener, classic plugin from Dad of Life. Everyone knows this one. So I'm going to turn up the color to about 10%. And I'm going to turn the fatness up around 3 to 5%. The fatness knob can be very aggressive. Bearing in mind we have a bunch of saturation and EQs on here already. So So that's made them a bit more aggressive. As you can hear, it went up about a dB or so. So now if we play it from where it was.
Welcome to the rave.
And we're really getting up there in CPU lags now, so it's getting towards the end of the project. Otherwise I'm going to have to start bouncing stuff out. But yeah, so far it's sounding really good. So I think the last thing I'm going to do is add a small 8-bar riser into the last 8 bars of the second drop, just to help transition into the outro of the track. So I'm going to go into the GMAX sample pack. I've got a riser sound in my head and I'm pretty sure it's in the GMAX sample pack. I'm not sure if it's in the Ultimate or Volume 2. I think it's in the Ultimate. Going risers here. It's that one right there. So obviously it's in E. We're working in G. What we've got to do is pitch it up 3 semitones and they're good to go. Put it on stretch. Use this section here. And what I want to do is add a tape stop effect. So we're going to make this the classic effects yellow OCD and then put it into the mixer, and we're going to add a plugin called Glitch 2. Going to turn the beats up to 8 by dragging up, and then I'm going to add a tape stop at the end there so it sounds like this. We're going to turn this down to 2 beats. And then of course we're going to add an EQ because the tape stop creates a rumble in the low end. Right there. And of course lastly we're going to add a side chain so it doesn't interfere with the kick. 3-punch mix with around a 70% mix. Sounding pretty good. So I think I'm going to leave this episode here. I might do one more episode to work on the mix down of the track. Could use a nice polish throughout start to finish, you know, finish the whole track, glue it as one. So yeah, I might do one more episode as a finale to mix down the track, and then that'll be the final episode. So I'm going to play through what I have so far and what we've done in this episode, and I'm going to leave it here. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to start from the break.
I like the beat getting rock the bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. I like the beat getting rock the bass goes to the boys. Super duper high, 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 high,
Welcome to the rave.
I'm going to leave it there because it's lagging like hell. But yeah, it's sounding really, really good. Of course, I'm going to make some more adjustments to this vocal, even out a bit more, make it stand out a bit more in this section here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. I've got a new video coming soon. It's my progressive house from start to finish, and of course, like I said, if you want a video explaining how I made this vocal here,
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the rave.
if you want a tutorial showing how I made that, I can definitely do that in a video as well. So yeah, let me know by smashing the like button and commenting below if you want that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, produce music, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Take care.